What is up, you guys? Max back here with another video. In this video, I'm going to be covering a topic that I feel like I've talked about roughly every 3 to 6 months for the last year and a half or so, and that's the C8 Corvette market. And the reason I find this topic so fascinating is just because we are in a weird time right now. What I mean by that is you can actually go to a dealership even now, and before, a year ago, 6 months ago, it was to a more extreme case, but even now, you can buy a C8 Corvette, drive it off the lot, and it'll be worth more than you actually paid for it. And that was the case for a lot of cars just a few months ago. Some cars still, and the Corvette still you can do that. It won't be as much as you maybe could have gotten a year ago, like I said, or a year and a half ago or whatever, because prices are slowly going down, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to look at some price trends. I'm going to pull up a Car Guru's graph, and we're going to look at the last 30, 90, and year-over-year prices from a percentage standpoint and see where they've gone. And this video is not going to be about the Z06 because that's so new, and that'll throw things off a little bit. So we'll just be looking at the C8 base Stingray. But I want to do a little flashback to my last video where I predicted sort of where the price would go for the C8 Corvette. So really quickly, let's look at that. Keep your mind at ease. If for some reason you do not want to mess around with getting on lists and want the car immediately, I would recommend still waiting at least a few more months for more cars to be produced, and I'm sure you could buy a used C8 from a dealership for below $70K. Now, obviously, these predictions, I am looking at a little bit of data, but for the most part, they're sort of random. I'm sort of following a pattern and a trend and predicting where I think things are going to go, but I don't know where the economy is going to go. I don't know if there's going to be more shortages in parts or a GM strike or anything like that. That's a lot of stuff that's out of my control. So I'm sort of picking these numbers sort of at random because there's so many variables that are unknown. But I got a lot of pushback in that video. One comment I'll show you specifically. It says, if you think you will be able to buy a C8 for below $70K in, quote, just a few months, I say keep dreaming. Sort of implying that it would be just unheard of to see $70,000 at a dealership for the C8 Corvette, and we are not quite there right now, but I want to show you some examples. I'll block out the pictures because these are not my pictures, but I want you guys to see the mileage and the trim of these cars, and you guys can see that there's not just one or two examples. There's a few examples really, really close to $70,000 at dealerships for a C8 Corvette right now. And they're not just base 1LTs either, with no option. Some of these are 2LTs and 3LTs, which is really cool to see and makes my prediction not 100% accurate, but it's slowly coming to fruition where we're getting towards that number. And also I want to look at some Facebook Marketplace examples just that were local to me that I found interesting, that were a little more optioned out, pretty low mileage vehicles for relatively low prices. Keep in mind, when I had this car, I sold my 2LT 2022 C8 Corvette with just over 1,000 miles for $95,000 to a dealership. So using that as a baseline, we can see cars that are way more optioned out that are being sold for less than that just a few months later. So really, really cool to see if you're a buyer for this car. And now let's get into the price trends. Because 2023 is the current model year and is very new, and there is also some Z06s that would fall under the 2023 category, and that sort of confuses car gurus, I am going to simply use the 2020, 2021, and 2022 model years to see exactly what has been going on with the Corvette prices. It also needs to be said that there is a depreciation factor as these cars get older. Generally, they will go down in price, and also the miles will continue to go up, which will lower the value of these cars over time. But also keep in mind that for the last few years, these prices have been going up and or staying steady. One thing to note is that in my last C8 Corvette price trend update video, the average price of a 2020 Chevrolet Corvette was just over $93,000. Just a few months later, the average price is $86,000. In that last video for 2021, it was $97,000 or a little more, and now that average price is under $90,000. And finally, for 2022, it was just over $101,000, and now we are at just over $93,000. Then when we look at the last 30 days, we can see that between the 2020 and 2022 model years, it's between 1.67% and 2.4% as far as percentage decreases. For the last 90 days, it ranges between decreasing 5.72% and 6.37%. And then here are the more staggering numbers. The year-over-year decreases are between 14.92% and 17.05%. To put that into perspective, in my last Corvette price update video, the biggest year-over-year decrease in percentage for any CA Corvette year was just over 11%. With the 2022 Corvette model year being down close to 20% year over year, that is a really good sign if you are hoping to buy this car soon. Prices are clearly starting to get more reasonable. Now that we have analyzed some of the numbers, let's look at some of those Facebook Marketplace listings that I found pretty interesting. And again, I will be covering the images, but you'll be able to see the year and specs and miles of these cars. So first up is this 2022 2LT Z51 Corvette with just over 2,000 miles. And I don't mean to keep bringing up the Corvette that I owned and sold, but knowing that I had a 2LT non-Z51 Vet from 2022 that I sold for $95,000 to a dealership that then marked that price up even more, $84,000 is a wild turn of events. Considering when I sold mine, it wasn't all that long ago. Then, lastly, I want to look at this pretty loaded 2LT 2022 C8. This one also has the Z51 package, as well as having magnetic ride control and the front lift option. I do not have the exact MSRP, but knowing that the 2023 Corvette starts at $65,000 and adding some of the options that I do know this has, we are looking roughly at an $82,000 MSRP for this car. So this has 450 miles and it's basically brand new and it's being sold for less than $10,000 over MSRP. 1 year ago today, that would have been unbelievable, and now it's pretty common. Alright you guys, thank you for watching this video. If you guys have any insights, any comments, anything to offer, definitely leave a comment down below. Also, if you want more CA Corvette content, news, and updates, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you're always aware of when I post these videos. Also, I do have a C6 Corvette currently, and I've been making videos showing you guys the progress of the build, so if you're interested in that as well, definitely hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one for more Corvette content. Peace.